Hey, this is Jack with Two Brothers Adventures. Today we're going to show you the disassembly and the reassembly of the Ruger Mark II pistol. So this is the Target edition. This is a really nice gun for taking small game as well as just plinking at targets and stuff like that. We really like these guns. My brother and I both have one. So anyways, the first thing you want to do is physically and visually check and make sure that there's no rounds in the chamber as well as no magazine in the magazine well. So that weapon is now clear. What you want to do first thing is after clearing your weapon, is you want to pull the trigger so that it's decocked. Then the next thing you need to do is right here, this little pin right here needs to come out. Now that's a little tough. We found that the end of a mutt tool from Leatherman pulls that out really nicely, but a screwdriver or something else will work just as well. Lift that up and it hinges like this, and then basically you're pulling this top pin right here out through the whole thing. So it's a little stiff. On newer pistols, or when it gets a little bit dirty, you just got to kind of wiggle that and get it down. It's kind of tough to pull that out, and you're just pulling that whole pin assembly out right there. There's nothing on this to get lost or to lose or anything, so you can just toss it aside. Next thing you want to do is just push forward on the whole barrel and bolt assembly there, and it just comes off of your frame. Now the thing you want to notice is the position of the hammer right here, because that needs to be in roughly the same position when you put it back together. So that's as far as you disassemble this piece. You can get in here, clean everything, do everything you need to do, and then really easy. Your bolt assembly just slides out right there. There's nothing else in the barrel assembly that needs to be taken out or removed, so you can just clean that. Now on this here, this is your spring here that you can take out. What you do is you just lift this up a little bit back here. It's just got these fins right here that catch on these two edges, so you just lift that up a little bit, and then with just a little jock in, this little bar comes out of these grooves right here. So you just set that aside and you can clean all that. Now usually that's about as far as you need to disassemble it, but if you want to go a little bit farther, there is, let me find my pin punch here, you can remove the firing pin. So that's this little pin right here. So what you want to do is just push that out, and that's gonna, put your finger here just a little bit, because there's a little spring there. You see it drops out. So here's your firing pin, and here's the spring right there. So that's pretty much it. There's all your components. You can clean that right there. It's roughly, let's see, it's basically 8 parts. And that's all you need to do to disassemble it and fully clean the weapon. Okay, now we're going to reassemble the weapon, and the hardest part with reassembling this is, if you've taken your firing pin out, is getting all these components back in this little channel down here. So we're going to try and show you that in really intricate detail here. So the first thing you want to do is take your little piece right here. You can see it has a little drop right there, and then you want to put your spring on the back right there. You can see it's a little indented to put your spring on. The spring only goes one way, just like that. Now you want to put this little bend facing down in towards the bolt, and as you can see, there's a little tiny indentation right there that just goes in right there, and you just drop it right in. As you can see, it's right against the end down here. It kind of acts like a stop. Right, let me get a little pointer there. You can see there's a little piece right there, and it just goes right in against that. Now the next thing you want to do is take your actual firing pin, and as you see right here, it's right there is where the spring rides, right on that tip right there. So you want to put that facing down, and you want to kind of go back a little bit farther back than it should need to be, and then just kind of let it drop in on top of that spring. And as you can see, it's in there right now. It's got the spring tension on it right there, as you can see. So that just goes right back there to catch the back of that spring. And just take this part really slow and careful, and make sure that you get that where it needs to be. Then what you want to do is push it down and a little bit forward, and then you're going to put your pin in from the side, just like that. Make sure it's even on both sides, and then as you can see right there, your firing pin's back in position, and it's captured that spring. And there's a little bit of springiness right there. for when the hammer hits it and it goes forward and fires. So that's all there is to it. It's really not as hard as, you know, you would think. Now the hardest part has been reassembled. So next we put this little part back in, and you want to put the flat part right here down, so that just simply clicks down into that groove right there. And then you just put a little backwards pressure on this and put those two little pieces right here right up against this end, and make sure that this is as round as you can be, because this pin is going to go up through that hole, so it makes it easier. Okay, the next thing you want to do is just slide this just like this into your barrel assembly right there. And then this is where we told you before to notice the position of this. You want to put it in roughly the same position so that it goes in here correctly, and then that makes it a lot easier. So you just want to slide that. As you see, there's a little area right here where that hammer goes up in. Put it on there, and then just forward pressure to seat that on there. Now that's on there, and it's right where it needs to be. Now you simply take this, and I'll try and get some light on it and let you see there's a little hole right there that this goes into. So you want to just take this, and it's a little tough to maneuver this into that hole right there, just like that, so it's straight up and down, and then you just gotta kind of wiggle it around to get all those pieces that it's going through lined up, just like that, and it goes all the way in. Now here's one of the most critical parts of this whole thing. You see how this goes in, and it just really easily goes into that to the hand grip there, the back of the grip. That is because it hasn't engaged correctly up there. So what you need to do is simply bring the gun up, point it towards the roof, bring this out again, and now put it back in. And as you can see now, there's some spring tension right there. It just doesn't go right into the grip. And so that is the correct position. It's now engaged that spring. You push your thing up and it goes in flat. Now if you've done that last part incorrectly, you cannot pull the bolt and the gun will not function. So as you can see, you know, always in a safe direction. Give your gun a couple of test fires, make sure it's going to cycle the way it should, that everything's working right. And there you go, the disassembly and reassembly of the Ruger Mark II.